welcome back to another video of H&H Express model and scale trains.
Welcome to part 2 of this new video series in which we're going to use a remote control to control the train. But first we of course need to build up a menu structure to select the train, to select the track where the train is located, and then have it powered on and moving forward or reverse. In part 1 we have created a program to capture the values of the remote control. As mentioned in the video, what I'm gonna do next is whenever on is pressed for the first time, it will enable the plus, the minus and the off key. As soon as the off key is pressed, then it will disable those 3 keys again. So when the program starts, the 3 plus, minus and off keys are not able to be recognized. So that is what we're going to do in this section here. So, and we're going to do that by adding a true or false value, and that is called a Boolean. So we're going to start with bool. That creates the Boolean. Now the variable which we're going to use, it is key on pressed, and we're going to set it to false. So that's the first step. So we defined a Boolean key on pressed is false. When key on is detected, then it shows key on is pressed. So we actually would need to change the value, so the key on pressed to true. So let's do that. So key on pressed is the opposite. So I'm going to put an exclamation mark in front of it, which turns it around. Key on pressed. So now it enables it, but I want to have it done only when it's not yet pressed. So I need to put an if statement in front of it. So if key on pressed, so if not key on pressed, this means it's true. So what is happening here is I will still show this line, but I'm gonna remove it later. So as you can see in the console output, whenever the key is pressed, it shows you the value of that key first. We're gonna remove that later. But this is to identify that a key has pressed. The number is shown, but it doesn't show which key. So here it says if this section is true, which means the key on press is false, because I put an exclamation mark in front of it, then the key on is pressed and it reverses this entry. So now with these, the key off, key plus and key minus, we need to do the opposite. So if key on pressed in this case key off is pressed, which means it needs to revert back. Key on is pressed is false. So we're gonna turn it around. And with the others, we just have to put an if statement around it. If key on pressed if key on pressed correct that one. So now with the start of the program, if key on is pressed, then it switches key on pressed from false to true, which means it doesn't show it anymore when this key is pressed, but it shows it the first time. When key off is pressed after key on has been pressed, it does the opposite. And the other keys, they are identified as being pressed, so they can be pressed many times. So let's see if this is correct. Let's compile it. Ooh, I made a mistake. Let me see. Yeah. It's lowercase. Everything is lowercase. So I'm gonna check it again. Okay. Let's upload it to the Arduino. And you should see it at the lights over there when the upload is done. So it's uploading. Okay. Let me clear the output, and I'm gonna use the remote control. So let's check. I'm pressing the minus, but it doesn't show the key minus is pressed. I'm pressing on plus, it doesn't show it. Pressing off, it also doesn't show it. So now I'm gonna press the on key. So it says on key is pressed. If I'm gonna press the on key again, it doesn't report the on key is pressed because it was already pressed. Now I'm able to press the plus key, the minus key. Let's try the on key again. Nope, it only shows a value. So it doesn't show that the key has been pressed. Now I'm gonna press the off key. So the off key is now pressed. Gonna do the minus key, and it only shows the value and not the text. So that concludes the function of enabling a sort of a power on and a power off, so that the rest of the remote control doesn't function if it's still off. So I have another remote control here which looks the same. This one looks, they look identical, but they are not. So the last function, what it was, is key off was pressed. So let's do the key on here. You see that the values of the remote control are different. So although the remote control looks the same, this remote control will not work with this program. So let's now tidy up this program, and we are going to remove the codes which have been detected. So I'm gonna comment this out which makes sure that the number is not being shown. So let's upload this one to the Arduino. It is now being uploaded. So we have the start text, IR receiver button decode. We're going to use a remote control. Let's press the off button. Nothing happens. Minus button. Nothing happens. You can still see that the infrared is detecting a key press, but it doesn't do anything. So you can see it with the LED on the infrared sensor. So let me press plus, you see it. So now let's press on. It says key press. Key on is pressed. The minus is pressed. The plus is pressed. And the off key. So now the minus and the plus and the off key don't function anymore. And the on key is pressed, and it only detects that it's pressed one time. It still recognizes a signal coming in, but it doesn't do anything with it, because that's part of the switch construction and the if statements installed. So next we're gonna add the LCD, because I would like to have it put on the LCD. So let's now switch programs in which we're going to use the LCD display. So I did already a preparation of the program in which I used a separate library for this display. It is the library U8GLIB. So U8GLIB. I created a variable for the LCD. I called it U8G to reflect to the library which is being used. And this is the SH1106 display which I'm using. It has some variables which need to be set. So that is what I did. So with this library and the LCD, you need to set the font. The font which I'm using to make it a little bit clearer is Helvetica and bold 12. That's the default which I set to, but I changed it to 10 in the menu. So what you need to do is you need to start the first page. You build up what is on the LCD. Then you set the font. You set the first position. You do the same as the serial print. You print it on the LCD. Select the next font. Choose the position. And the first one is the column, and the second one is the row. So here it says press on button on the remote. So this is a section which I created in the setup. So as soon as we have compiled it and send it to the Arduino, then it will show this on the LCD display. If this is created, then you go to the next page and that's it. So this section here is to put it on the display. The rest is actually the same. The decoding is the same. The results decoding is the same. There is no, the serial print, as you can see here, has been commented out with the forward slashes. The check if key on has been pressed if key on has been pressed, then it will show the next option. So I'm doing exactly the same here, in which you can see that it says press the plus of the minus, plus, and off button on the remote control. Then we have the off key. When the off key is pressed, it needs to show this section again. Press the on button on the remote because I switched it off. And for now, I can do the same step with the LCD, but I'm gonna fill this in later on the LCD display, but here I'm gonna print it on the serial out. So let me clear this one. Let me first check and compile this script to see if there is nothing wrong. So the sketch is okay. So let's upload it to the Arduino. So it's now uploading, and the LCD should lit, and it reports press the on button on the remote. So I'm gonna press the on button, and it shows plus of minus, plus, and off button. So those buttons can be pressed. I didn't put the text on the display yet for pressing the minus and the plus button. So let's press it, and you see that on the console it is detected that the minus key is being pressed, and the plus key is pressed, minus key, plus key, plus key, plus key. So you see that section works. Let me press the off button, and the menu, or on the LCD display, it says press the on button on the remote. So that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please leave your comments in the comment section below if you have any questions, and I will see you in a next video. Thank you and goodbye.